Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy far and south.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses. This is Todd Hoffman and Trent Hoffman, and you're listening to Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 131. And I hope everyone is doing well today. We are going to be talking about episode 4 and 5 of the Bad Batch from season 2. Obviously, and unfortunately, my little buddy Trent couldn't be joining me today. Just a little couple scheduling conflicts here, but we will have little T on very, very shortly. Please definitely catch us out on Twitch. We're at twitch.tv/Big T Little T. Definitely, we're playing every week, playing some Fortnite. We just picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, which is like a remake of the classic arcade game, I believe in 1984. But yeah, that is super, super cool. And then we just picked up Goats Simulator 3 and have a lot of fun with that. There's actually a little multiplayer feature in that, so we have multiple goats on at the same time. It's a little chaotic, but it's a lot of fun. So we're doing that as well. And then what else are we doing? We are doing that and having fun there. But sorry about last week, but we did have a death in the family. So Jen's dad, Lee, passed away last week. So my father-in-law, and it's been a little rough for the family. So it's just been a thing. So yeah, so we just we're still kind of recovering that from a family perspective. He was sick for a little bit, but he's in a better place, and we believe in a higher power in Jesus, and we know that that's where he's at. We're just grateful for his life, everything about that. But yeah, so this week's gonna be a little rough too, because we had the memorial service and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been a little rough, and this is the first time for Trent and Ellie to experience something like that. So yeah, but one of the things that Lee definitely loved, all kinds of things, but he loved his coffee, he loved food, he loved fast cars, and he was definitely loved the Lord, and we're just so grateful for him and his blessings to the family. So it's gonna be hard not having him around, but he wasn't into Star Wars that much, but he knew I was into Star Wars. Well, it's kind of goes without saying, but he always asked questions about Star Wars, which I appreciated, because he didn't know too much, but he it was always, he was always encouraging about what's coming out with Star Wars. Just want to know what's happening and stuff like that. But we were able to it's big when he went to the movie theater. And in fact, they don't go to movies too often. So they would still call it the picture, like going to the picture. And one of the coolest things was The Force Awakens. And we were able to get him to the theater and watch a little Star Wars. So it's definitely one of my highlights of, just get him to the theater, watch a little Force Awakens. And that was a lot of fun. So also this weekend was the Royal Rumble. So Trent and I checked that out. And so we love a little wrestling. In fact, this is Trent and I's favorite event. It's not really a pay-per-view anymore, because I guess it is technically, if you want to count it that way, but it's because now it's on Peacock. And so with Peacock, you get the Royal Rumble. You get the it's on Peacock now. And so if you're not familiar with the Royal Rumble, that's okay. We can tell you. It's all good. It's it was the 35th year of the Royal Rumble, if you can believe that. And it's one of my favorite because it's very, you don't really have to know a lot about wrestling. It's basically 30 men and now 30 women. They just come down one at a time. There's like a 90-second interval. So it starts with two, and then every 90 seconds, another wrestler comes down. And there's always some surprises, possibly some gags as well, as far as just like, yeah, this guy's, hasn't wrestled in years, but he shows up. And yeah, this was a really, I was really impressed with this whole card. And they did something different because they do mix in a couple like single card or single matches. So there's a couple in that, but the main premise of Royal Rumble is 30 men and 30 women. And one of the unique things about Royal Rumble is whoever wins it gets a shot at the title, which is always a good thing at wrestling. But yeah, there was a lot going on. The biggest thing is like for the men, there was Gunther, and Gunther was number one. He lasted over an hour, which is pretty impressive. The best thing was obviously there's quite a few interesting ones. They really didn't do anything too crazy. There's Dominic and Mysterio, and Dominic and Mysterio are father and son, and Ray didn't come out, and so Dominic kind of just basically took his mask, Ray's mask, and we didn't get to see Ray, so it didn't really play off or whatever, but it's okay. They're having a nice family feud. Edge showed up, which was awesome. Edge has been injured, and then there was a little run-in with everybody at the end because he got eliminated. And then his wife shows up, takes out Rhea. It's a whole thing, man. It was great. Booker T showed up. It was awesome. I'm trying to think. But the biggest thing was Cody Rhodes showed up. So Cody Rhodes has been out with a pec injury, and when he was facing Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell and like totally blew out his pack and still finished the match. But he's basically, that was his first like kind of pay-per-view in a while. And then it was, yeah, he didn't show up for a while. And then another big one is like Logan Paul was like, showed up and he was injured for a while. So now he's officially, I think, at WWE. And then, yeah, he showed up and Ricochet him had this like thing across the ring. They jumped and like collided. It was crazy. But Cody picked number 30 or got 30. And guess what? Cody Rhodes won. So usually I believe the 27th is the hottest spot for a winner. But yeah, it was Cody Rhodes, which was awesome. Then there was Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. And this one was pretty good, but Belair finished that one, which was awesome. Then we had the Women's Royal Rumble match. Not a ton of surprises, but what was very interesting is Rhea Ripley was number one and went the distance and basically took out everybody. There was a couple surprises. One of the biggest surprises was I believe was it Lacey Evans? Yeah, Lacey Evans shows up, but she only got in there for like a couple seconds and then was eliminated. I think 5 was the official one. And then the other one was Nia Jax. She showed up. She hasn't been gone for quite some time, but she didn't last long because Nia Jax is rather she's got definitely she's a bigger woman and she can definitely hold her own, but I think there was 11 women at the time, and they all ganged up on her and took her out. So, yeah, it was very interesting. So yeah, that was that. And then the big match for, I believe there was Bray Wyatt too. Did I skip that one? yeah, Wyatt defeats Knight. It was okay. It wasn't the best. But then the big one, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Now, if you don't know anything about Roman's had the title for like forever. He's the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And he's been holding that title forever. There's the whole bloodline, which is some of them, and then there is Sami Zayn, that's kind of been like the adopted. They're not blood, but he's been adopted. So the post match happens. Unfortunately, Kevin didn't do it, didn't win it. But then there's this whole post match where basically he got him handcuffed to ropes. It's this whole thing, and then basically Roman's like, "Sammy, you got to take him out," even though he's knocked down. And then basically Sammy turns on Roman, and yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Um, so then that happened, and then Jey Uso didn't like it, and he stepped out. So yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, there you have it. Bloodline is a great storyline. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it was really cool seeing Sammy in that. But yeah, that was definitely a very big twist. And if you don't know, Sammy and Kevin have been friends, real time friends, for such a long time, but they've had some beef. And so it was kind of a cool playoff of all that fun stuff. So there you go. Royal Rumble. Yes, we like wrestling too. It was super fun. Okay. So we have 2 episodes to cover here tonight. So we got Bad Batch, Faster, and Entombed. So Faster is episode 4. And again, like I said, Lee loved cars. And so this is a perfect episode just to kind of honor his racing. And he just loved doing that kind of stuff and tweaking with cars and stuff like that. So this one's like pretty much like a pod racing a thing. Again, I didn't know this was a thing, but Hunter and Echo are delivering Nerf nuggets. I want in on that. So there's some Nerf nuggets. So it's just Tech, Wrecker, and Omega. And Sid, of course, hey man, I got another thing that they want to do. So they go to a new planet, Seifa Toma, and they are racing. We're going to see a bunch of different species. We see Godels, Panterons, Arcanos, Rodidians, all kinds of people. All species you probably. I'm a big fan of Godels, but she's got a new racer droid, and they're pretty much like land speeders, or technically not quite pod racing, but it's very small pods that are just happen to be land speeders or whatever. And it's Teo-0 or Teo, and he's a droid, and so very similar to pod racing. It's very fast, very dangerous, as Qui-Gon Jinn used to say. And Sid runs into a local gangster named Grinny, and he's a Dawotin. So a Dawotin, if you're not familiar with that, this is a big dude that we get to see in the Force. Speaking about Force Awakens, he's with that Imperial or First Order spy in Maz's castle. Big dude. And then also, if you play Jedi Fallen Order, she is a down twin that is the 9th sister. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But he's kind of a slender man, tall, same species, but definitely a different build than what we saw in The Force Awakens. So they basically have this kind of bet, and they say, "Hey, Teo can take out or win the next race." Of course, he cheats a little bit. There's actually a couple people that involved that he's got kind of on his payroll, and they win. And Teo loses and actually kind of blows up. So they get him all fixed up, and again, he gets annihilated by a pod in the, I think in the like pit lane or something like that. And yeah, it's not good. So Tech steps up. Now Tech has been analyzing the racing that Teo's doing, and it's pretty much like your 3-course thing. Obviously, the one that the gangsters got is essentially kind of like the Sebulba of this kind of circuit. And so they take Sid as collateral until the next race. So Tech, Wrecker, and Omega basically fix up the pod. It's kind of a fun what they're using is similar to what you would say in X-Wing, going all the way back, old school X-Wing flight simulator, where you have to use a combination of lasers, shields, and engines all kind of run off the same system, and you have to toggle between those to get that. And it's kind of the same premise here, where you're sacrificing shields and stuff, and yeah, it's quite interesting, and I really did like this episode. It's a racing episode, so similar to like Resistance when we had those racing episodes, and obviously very homage to the pod racing and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a fun one. Not much plot, not much meat in this, but it is a fun. It's definitely a fun episode. But you get to see Tech's leadership and taking a risk and trying to help out Sid. Like I said, there's an accident with Tail that he basically dies. And then there's some great names. So I'm going to read this again. This is coming from, I didn't write all these down, so I had to look it up on Wikipedia. But here we go. We got the Riot Champion Jet Venom. We got Bosco, the Mad Bomber Bricks, Steel Claw Kane, Vicious Vid Satiri, Hoxon, the War Gnome, Transix, Quick Draw Quasar, the Trickster, Flash Raktar, and Hyper Rod of his 7-deuce blaster, and Tech. Yeah, it's super funny. But basically, this guy Jet uses his dirty tricks to try to get Tech out, but Tech maneuvers and figures it all out. And there's this like little access shaft or course that is kind of run down, but Tech kind of figures it out, and yeah, at the end of the day, Tech wins, hooray, and helps Sid. Yeah, and it's fun. It's a fun little thing, but essentially one of the things that's interesting that as they kind of depart from it, one of the interesting things is that this gangster guy essentially says, just watch your backs with Sid, which is kind of interesting. Not totally crazy, but yeah, it's one of those things that I kind of agree with Sid. You never ever know. So that is something that I think, if I had a bet, that's a little foreshadowing to things to come. I mean, Sid is loyal and but there's definitely some things that could happen here that could lead to Sid maybe selling them out. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, that's Faster. Really, really cool episode. I enjoyed it. I underjoyed Tech's leadership and also his uncanny ability to kind of figure out using math. Yes, people using math and calculations, and that's just Tech. Now, the next one is very interesting. Episode 5, Entombed. Again, almost kind of self-contained. This is straight up Indiana Jones homage. If you like Indiana Jones and anything like that, this one is great. This is just fantastic, and yeah, it's just super super interesting. And again, I feel like this is self-contained in a sense because another one is just you don't know if it connects to the overall story, but yeah, here we go. So Entombed is essentially the whole crew's back, and if you read the official description, it says Batch searches for ancient treasure and stirs up a shocking surprise. So we got what happens here is they have, I'm messing up on her name. What is her name here? What's her name? It's Sid's friend, and I can't think of it. Okay, so it is. They're going to Caldar Trinaria, Airy. If you say that, if I'm saying that right, um, it's Gino. There it. Genoa. Genoa. Okay, so she's like, hey, uh, Omega and Wrecker are searching for like some trash and some in this kind of junkyard, and they got this little trinket, and it looks like a compass. Looks like a compass, and pretty interesting. And so they go to this planet called Caladar Trinaria, or something like that. And so they start and embark on this. They embark on this little treasure hunt. The music is straight up Indiana Jones, and it's great. So there's a bunch of puzzles, and if you're in, if you played any video games, if you played any kind of this stuff, it's straight up just like that. The little puzzles, little adventure, little adventure kind of thing, and there's a series of puzzles that they're trying to figure out what's in there. So they start off, and there's a great, she has a great like little droid. It's like a Gonk type droid, and I love the droid. And so they kind of enter this mountain of this place, and she says that there's a treasure known as the heart of the mountain, and that's all they know. It's super price. It's like it's supposed to be super priceless and super old and all that kind of stuff. So that is pretty cool, but we don't really know anything more than it's the heart of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just that's it. That's all I know. And so they go through this series of things. They finally get to they kind of get to this thing, and it's like this, I don't know, it's kind of this weird looking relic, if you will. But there's something that they say that it's called the Ancients, and it said it older than the Jedi, and that's where I was like, I don't understand what that is. And so it's just kind of interesting that they how can I put it? They mention the ancients, but we have no idea what that is. Is that like some other race? Is that something else? I have no idea. And it's kind of very Star Wars-ish. They just launch. They say things that they don't really explain, and maybe we won't get an explanation. But this is the first time they've mentioned ancients in in the not new era of Disney. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's something that I didn't think we were going to get any lore from Bad Batch, but here we go. We got some lore, man. It's pretty interesting. So again, they go through some series of traps and all that fun stuff, and then the heart of the mountain they get, and they pull it out, and it starts up this kind of, lack of a better word, dinosaur. It's like this robot dinosaur. It's a giant kind of war machine looking thing, but it's almost kind of have this like world of the worlds kind of like beaming stuff, and it's trying to destroy stuff, and it's like, what the heck is going on? And I think that's what is kind of hard to follow. Like, why is this ancient machine trying to destroy stuff? It kind of has this event horizon, not event horizon, Horizon Dawn. Event Horizon is a horror movie from sci-fi. No. This is Horizon Dawn, the video game, where it's kind of have this kind of robot kind of mechanism looking, dinosaur looking thing. And yeah, it's hard to understand what it really means. So we're just trying to figure out that. But they essentially pull out the heart of the mountain. It disappears and it destroys our favorite little gonk droid. But yeah, it's just kind of another loss for the Bad Batch. And so not only do we have Dooku's war chest that didn't go right, we have, Faster really didn't pan out. They didn't get a lot of wins from that. And then this ancient treasure kind of comes up empty. So they're like 0 for 3. And yeah, I don't know. They're not doing very well here from the Bad Batch. But again, really, really interested to see how this is going to go for the Bad Batch. So again, 0 for 3, Heart of the Mountain didn't work. And yeah, so not super cool. But a super fun episode. Again, just trying to see how this is going to play off. And later, I'm hoping we might get something more about the Ancients, but you never know. So there you go. Entombed. And that's episode 5 for the Bad Batch. So there you have it. 2 definitely diverse episodes. But yeah. Super fun and both of them. So thanks again for listening to another episode of Big T and Little T. You can find us on the socials, Big T Little T Podcast on Instagram and BLILT Podcast on Twitter, and then twitch.tv/Big T Little T. Hey, we got stickers for you. If you want to comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, drop us a screenshot of that rating. We would love to read your rating on the next episode. If you want to drop us a question or whatever, tell us what you felt about Faster and Entombed. That's Big T Little T Podcast at gmail.com. That's where we can read that and discuss that stuff in the next episode or so. Next week, episode 6, we're getting into February, the calm before the storm. February is going to be a chill month, and then March, it's just going to be crazy sauce. So definitely can't wait to check out episode 6 of Bad Batch. So there you have it. Now remember, truly wonderful the mind of the child is, and may the force be with you always. Bye. Talk to you soon. Bye.